So, like, welcome back to Chaos and Conversations or whatever. It's a podcast about chaos and conversations.
Yeah. Sibling time, ADHD. Don't get attached to a topic because it's gonna change.
She remembered.
I did
That's
remember.
That's the first time since we've had this podcast that you got that part down without me having to prompt it. And then prompt it and then say it anyways.
Yeah.
That's happened a few times. Yeah. You're like, what rule? There are rules?
What are you talking about?
What the? I didn't sign it. What the fuck, Kyle?
I don't know what you're talking about. I've done it perfect every time. No, I'm just...
Anyway, so that's the rule. Don't get attached to any topic because it won't last long.
I'm Karina. He's Chris. We have names.
We do on
it's
this one.
Time. Yep. Other times we don't have names.
Mm-mm.
Weird.
We're just not people.
Not people. No existence.
No. And today we're going to talk about spirituality because Riss wanted it.
I think we all wanted it.
Yeah, no.
It was weird.
I just wanted to blame
Guys,
Riss.
This morning was weird. We had our live stream.
Yeah.
Oh, and don't mind the pillows. We are in pain.
Yeah, this is my cuddle buddy because my legs
feel good.
hurt.
Yeah, and my right hip is absolute garbage, and so I needed extra.
Yeah.
So don't worry about it. It's fine. It's fine. Shh. Sit down. Just listen. Okay.
Shut up and listen. This is you listen here.
It's
you don't
been a week.
Talk. Well, no, you can talk.
You can talk. You just have to do it in the comments.
You just remember that we can't hear you. It's different than real life.
Don't go in there.
Don't touch it. It's evil. Anyway.
Yes, we're talking spirituality because weird things happened this morning, and it's kind of been a thread in a lot of our lives recently because life is a giant mirror if you're paying attention, I guess. And this happens a lot.
Well, okay, so
in the context of the podcast, it happens a lot.
To me, it feels like this is kind of like in that vein of what we're going to talk about, but it feels to me like a global awareness kind of a thing happens.
Oh my God. I have things to tell you because
you know what I'm saying?
Here's the thing. It's called the Great Awakening.
Awakening. Yeah. I know about that.
Yes.
But like it just when the themes are all the same, it's like everyone's going through something similar at the same time.
Like we're all on. It's interesting. Like we're in the same chapter of our lives, and we're living through that mirror of ourselves, and then watching ourselves reflected in the people around us.
Right. So what happened?
Fascinating.
We did the live.
Yes.
And
I said
we should do an episode.
Talk about spirituality.
Right. She was like, nudge, here's the beginning of a thing.
Yes.
And then you said, then Rodrigo was like, oh, have you heard about
Dolores Cannon? And I was like, what?
Yeah, because she had done a deep dive.
Yes.
And on Wednesday, for me, I had it came up and I was like, oh, interesting. And I got into it. I was like, oh no, okay, I get this.
Yes.
And I moved on.
Yeah.
But it was weird because I had just heard that name like everybody was like, yeah.
So weird. So it was just it's just interesting. And it happens a lot through the podcast.
Always.
Where we're like, we should talk about a thing. And then everybody jumps in with, that's super relevant in my life right now. Mm-hmm. You should absolutely talk about the thing. So I love when it happens because it's the podcast doing what the podcast do.
Yeah, we just let it happen.
And if you are newer here, this is how this works. Like we have a joke that the podcast made itself and steers itself and tells us when it's time to grow and leads the way through that growth.
It's weird because it's gonna sound counterintuitive. It's like we let it happen.
Yeah.
We put a lot of work into it.
Yes.
But at the same time, we haven't forced it. Like we haven't been like, we're gonna make this happen. We're gonna make this do this.
Yes.
It's been casually like, oh, we could do this differently, and then everything lines up to where that'll happen.
Yes.
Or like I'll be like, ooh, new idea for a set, and then bam, it just happens.
Yes. Yeah.
Like everything lines up. The I don't know.
It's just the podcast provides.
It does.
The universe provides. But it's a fascinating thing because it's hard to talk about sometimes because you get those looks from people where it's like, oh, it's the woo-woo crowd.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, it's just your generation and your woo-woo spiritualism and your witchy blah, 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 blah. And you're like, okay, but this is like the fulfillment of my instinct.
Right, which is what you were saying in the live stream.
Yeah. So to like come across something that you already feel in your core.
Right. And that's
And then be
that's
like-
really interesting because when you said that, I was like, yeah, no, everything. It's not like I saw something somewhere and was like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm going to latch onto that. And that's what I believe
Right,
now. It's like,
right.
this has just been developed over experiences
Uh-huh.
and then just kind of happened. Like,
Yes.
you
Well,
end up
it's-
at a point.
It's almost the product of the deconstruction that we had to go through.
That would make a lot of sense.
Yeah. But it's like a natural product of the deconstruction.
Yeah.
Right? Like it's not, we traded in one thing for another. That's not what happened. That's not what's happening. It's just the more you get to know yourself and the more you do that self-exploration
Yeah.
outside of judgment and self-loathing.
Yeah.
There's more to it.
Also, look how cute my hair is today.
His hair is beautiful today.
I don't
It's
know what it looks
gorgeous.
like. I've just been told it looks cute.
Yes, he wouldn't look at it, which is a good thing because he would have
I
messed
would have
with
touched it and ruined
But
it.
it's beautiful and I love it. It's gorgeous. So
Yay me!
just leave a comment. Tell us how pretty his hair is.
Or don't.
You don't
Don't
have
make
to.
me
I'm
feel
not your
awkward.
mom. It's okay.
Do it though. I'll need the pick me up halfway through the week.
It's true. While he's editing too.
Yeah.
He's gonna be like, "Oh, my hair." No, leave comments
Leave comments.
afterwards.
Comments. Anyways, so start at the beginning then.
Yeah. Of,
Like-
like the deconstruction.
Yeah. That's a good way to lead into it, I think.
Okay.
Right?
So to back up, and all right, I want to preface this with you are allowed to believe and feel and resonate with whatever it is you believe and feel and resonate with.
Yeah.
Cool. This is our personal experience, our personal beliefs, our personal feelings, right? This does not apply to everybody. This is not meant to apply to everybody, but if it resonates with you, that is awesome. So keep an open mind if you can
Right.
as we move forward.
And you don't
'cause
have to
it's gonna
tune out.
be-
If it doesn't
Yeah.
if it's not something that you believe, don't
You can
tune
just
out.
listen.
And then you can provide us with your
Right.
context of your perception of things.
Right. There's no directive here. You
We're not-
just receive the information.
Right. It's literally just this is what she believes.
Yes.
And I don't believe anything. I'm a nihilist.
No, you're not. You're an absurdist and you know it.
Don't be absurd.
Anyway.
Yeah, so deconstruction.
Yes. So the deconstruction I am referring to is that we were raised, or at least I was raised, like really consistently within Christianity, but to an extent where we were both sheltered from the outside world. I don't know how to put it. Because we were sheltered, but it wasn't
Isolated.
isolated is a much better word.
Mhm.
Because sheltered implies that it was for our safety,
Right. No.
which it was
it
not.
was not.
So we were isolated from the outside world.
Right.
And going through, like, being raised in a situation where you're told that if you're bad, you go to hell. If you believe certain things, you go to hell. The people around you who believe certain things are going to go to hell. You shouldn't build relationships with people who
The
are
contradictions within
non-Christian.
that.
Yes.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what killed me the most. And my upbringing was the same.
Yeah.
It was different because I had outside. I came from the outside world and went into the isolation.
Yeah. So you already had like an idea of what.
Right. And I went to Catholic school, for God's sake. I went
Yeah.
to Catholic school for years. I did catechism. I did union. I did
Yeah.
all the stuff that. Well, I didn't do it because I was excluded from a lot of it. 'cause
Right.
I
You couldn't do
prove that
communion and all of that.
I couldn't prove I was baptized.
Whatever.
But like I went from that to nothing
Yeah.
to then living with you guys.
Right.
So like I went from open world to isolation.
Yes.
And it was hard,
Yeah.
but
Well, even our schoolwork was
yes,
like
themed.
manipulated and themed. Themed is a good word. And like we were given one lens to see the world through.
Mhm.
And if you deviated from that lens, you were bad.
Well, if you asked questions,
Right.
right?
Even.
If you're
Oh my
like,
God.
why is it like this? You got a really obtuse answer about
Yes.
it. That's the way it is.
Yes. Oh, yeah. I remember asking questions to pastors
Mhm.
and having them be like super irritated and pissed off at me because they were like, that question is hard for me to answer and therefore shut the fuck up.
Yeah.
So in my adult life, I had to really deconstruct all of that learning. I had to unlearn a lot of it. I had to broaden my viewpoint of the world. I had to learn to, I don't even want to say learn to accept others. It was very much like that was my instinct, was to accept others for who they were and
right.
But
I feel like on a base level,
yeah,
if there's a wrong way to say that and a right way to say that. I think people can accept other people.
Yes.
And that's
our first instinct,
nature,
right?
right? Yeah.
Hate and division are learned.
Mm-hmm.
That's a learned thing. That's not a natural state of being. That's
right.
not a natural state of being with one another. So kind of going back to the base instincts and living more genuinely and finding out who the heck I am and what I want, and not coming from a place of like judgment and self-loathing and hate it was a lot of work. It was really difficult, but I did it, and I'm glad that I did it. But through that process, I kind of came to accept something that I couldn't really put words to for a long time, and something that I was like nervous to talk about with other people
right.
for a long time.
Yeah.
Because when you're like, hey, I kind of sort of maybe believe in reincarnation and that we are all part of the universe experiencing itself, people are like, pardon, what?
Well, I love that too, because that's something Neil deGrasse Tyson has even said.
Mm-hmm.
That
Really?
That's beautiful about life, is that we are the universe experiencing itself.
Yeah.
I love that quote.
Like, what is creation without the experience of creation?
Right.
So that's kind of where I'm at. And it was really interesting. Recently, I've been talking to a friend, and we were talking about, I'm trying to remember what it was exactly.
Mm-hmm.
It was the, like with Dolores Cannon, they talk a lot about like raising the vibration, right?
Right.
And we are in that place of kind of opening up as a society. And I like the idea of this great awakening. We're all waking up to who we really are.
Mm-hmm.
And we're opening up to the universe and those around us, and understanding that we are connected in ways that are not traditionally accepted.
Which is funny, because that's what science is teaching us.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like,
It's kind of confirming.
you follow like the theoretical stuff, and
Yeah.
you get to quantum levels of things, and you're like, wow, everything is kind of the same thing.
Yes.
Like, is every
What is that thing you were telling me about, when we're all in a state of unrest, something change?
number generators.
Okay.
There are number generators that are watched all around the world, like
Yeah.
South America. I think there's one even in Antarctica, in one of the research stations. But the idea is that if there's like a tragedy, like a great morning of whatever,
Yeah.
that the numbers will dip
That's
across
so
the
interesting.
globe.
Yeah.
Like the number generators will start producing lower numbers,
Right.
or negative numbers.
Yeah.
And then the same for like positive. If there's like a celebration of things, the numbers will go up.
Interesting.
Right? Like the consciousness
Like,
has an effect on
Yes.
on the random
Exactly.
numbers.
Exactly.
I've always thought that was really cool too.
Right. Because it is like, I don't know, the consciousness. I like that, the word consciousness, because that is our awareness, right?
Right.
And like, sorry, my brain wants to go like 700 different places with this, because I find it so interesting.
Well,
and I want to dig
Before
in.
we get too deep, I wanted to say,
direct me.
like, your journey
Yeah.
was deconstructing.
Mm-hmm.
I had to, like, I didn't have to, but I did deconstruct in that in-between time.
Yeah.
Between moving and moving back in.
Mm-hmm.
And then I had to try on and force myself into
Right.
a role that was not
Yeah.
what I was into.
Right.
It was literally like I had to take Christianity classes
Mhm.
in high
Oh my
school.
God, yes. That was one thing that I was going to say. It was like, when we were homeschooled, it was part of our curriculum.
Mm-hmm.
It was literally part of our curriculum. Like, we had Bible study
Yeah, as a class.
as a class. Yeah.
Which was really fucked up in a way, because
Because you knew what you were supposed to respond, but
it was a
felt so
workbook.
viscerally wrong.
that you had to fill in what they wanted you to say,
Yes.
because then it was reviewed.
Yep.
and then that was used as a tool.
Yeah.
Neither for good or bad, but it was a tool that was used in your education. It was the whole thing. But I came out of that so adverse to, you know what I mean? Like I came out and I was like, this is not it.
Bad taste in your mouth.
Right.
And you want to get as far
once
away
I was free,
possible.
I was like, no, I'm done.
Yeah.
I'm not. Yeah. I'm good.
Yep.
So no, I just wanted to say that was my journey.
Yeah.
Where like I kind of started developing my own worldview, and then I got forced into one that I didn't jive with.
Right. Well then, so how did you come across like the ideas that are presented within like spiritualism and all of us being part of one consciousness or multiple consciousness, but with higher selves and different lives and living across timelines and
a lot of it is stuff that I picked up that would be like the science stuff. Like I really like the science end of things when it starts touching spirituality, when they're like, but science disproves God. And it's like, excuse me, where? It just doesn't prove fundamentally what you're saying.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Your version of God.
Right. Like there is a whole thing here. So a combination of that stuff, because I really love it. Yeah. And then just life experiences. Mm-hmm. Like you said, it kind of is a native thing. And if you leave it alone, it kind of grows on its own, right?
Yeah.
Like I didn't force it. I wasn't looking. I wasn't like, I need something to fill a hole in my life.
Well, it's like as soon as you stop pouring weed killer on top of it,
right,
it grows on its own because it's native. Mm-hmm. It is native to our soul.
Right. And I always kind of was trying to get to where my mom's at, kind of. She's more Catholic, right? So she's gone more Christian in the last years.
Yeah.
But like she still has like a very open sense of like spirituality and existence, and
right.
It's always been interesting to hear her talk about things. And I always tried to, like, when I was a kid, would confirm her experiences. Like stories she would tell, I'd be like, well, I wonder if I could like prove that, or you know, be
I want that experience because I want to feel that.
Right.
Yeah. I want to feel that like bought in. Because you wanted to as a kid. Like it's not like you went through life like, well, I don't want to believe that and fit in and be who I'm supposed to be or whatever. Right. Like you want to, but it feels wrong.
Right. No, and I don't know, it just kind of happened.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you kind of just pick stuff up in bits as you go along, and you're like, that feels like something that's happened to me, or that resonates. Like I get that. That makes sense to me now.
Right.
And a lot of it was through accepting myself as a person.
Yes.
Like that was huge. Yeah. Right? Like being okay with who I am and then exploring that.
Right. Right. Being allowed to explore that without having to try to change everything or deny everything in every turn. Because that's what Christianity does to you, especially as a child, is like you are raised believing that you are fundamentally broken. Mm-hmm. You are wrong, and everything you know and think and want and feel is wrong.
Every impulse you have is negative.
Yes.
God, that drove me crazy. Like I get that there are things that you do that are negative.
Right.
And when you think about like the laws of like the 10 Commandments and how they were based at the time, and like it made sense for certain time periods, but you can't translate the Bible to now and be like, you can't eat pork.
Right.
It's like,
we know how to cook that now.
Yeah, like it made sense at the time why you would avoid these things.
Right.
Because at the time that's what was needed.
Yes.
But it's not. It doesn't apply anymore.
No.
I don't know.
Well, and I feel like coming to a place where you know nothing.
Yeah. Being open.
The first step. And being okay with knowing nothing. Like,
yeah.
I don't know a lot of people who are comfortable with not knowing. I feel like so many people feel like they need to know for their own comfort. Mm-hmm. Whereas for me, it's like, I don't know. And why would I know? I am so small.
For you, it's like almost, well, not just for you. I'd say this is the way I feel too. Where it's like, arrogant to assume that you should know everything.
Right. Well, and I remember even as I was on my way out of Christianity, one of the things that like really occurred to me and resonated with me was the idea that like, who am I to ask a God for anything?
Right.
And why
as a kid
on earth, why would they hear me? Especially like, oh no, dear God, please help me find my missing sock.
This is even as a kid, like when they were teaching you how to pray in Catholic school, like I was like, it makes no sense to do these things.
No.
Like I can ask for guidance. That makes sense to me.
Yeah.
Like if, especially in Christianity or Catholicism, there's like a set path, right?
Yeah.
You're meant to follow your path and it serves a purpose, which is, it's a good thing to have like a sense of self in that, I guess.
Right.
Your life has meaning.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
I lost my train of thought.
But a lot of the time it's not your meaning.
Right. And then like you're supposed to pray for little things. I hope I'm going to pray my grades are good.
Build a relationship with God. And you're like, excuse me, how on earth do you think our consciousnesses are the same as a God?
My favorite example.
What?
of like this is about Cthulhu, so it's an Eldritch horror. But the idea that like someone's like, well, what makes you think you can control a God? Like if if you summon it, you think it's going to do what you want. And then the example this guy gives is like, well, if a bunch of ants made a circle around me and started giving me things, I might entertain them for a little bit too, right? Like, be like,
for a minute.
You want me to smite this one? Okay. Now what happens? You know? And then when you're done, you get bored and you just walk away.
Right.
It's just funny to me that
it's like, think about pigeon superstition.
Oh, yeah.
Like... That's a great example of exactly what humans do, because we feel like we need to know. We feel like we need to be in control all the time.
Yeah.
And we're afraid of the unknown. We're not comfortable with not knowing.
I am
so comfortable with not knowing that I'm like, people are like, well, what do you believe? And I'm like, I don't know. I am comfortable not knowing what's going on.
I hate people that react to that. There's like the person, well, then how do you know what's right?
Right. Oh my God. You know how I know what's right? Because I have empathy.
Right. I learned that I don't like that thing, so I'm not going to do that to other people.
Right.
Because if I don't like it, they don't like it. Well, that's not always true.
Oh my God. Wink. What's terrifying? Well, you see.
I'm not kink shaming. I'm not.
No. We're kink celebrating, if anything.
I'm kink celibate. I abstain from all kinks.
Liar.
No, I do.
Know.
I do. I've never, ever,
I don't know
ever.
I need to know this.
Had a kink.
You've never had a kink? Not once?
No, I probably have. I just wouldn't identify it as a kink. Ow. What?
Ow. That would hurt a lot. I don't want to think about that. Stop.
You started it.
I don't even have one of those, and that hurts me.
Mm-hmm.
Jesus. Anyhow.
I mean, you can fracture it.
You can. That's so bad.
It's so funny when people find out that that's a thing that can happen, and they're like,
like,
what?
You can break your dick.
You broke your dick, bro? Dude.
Cowgirl. Not even once. Sorry.
That's a PSA.
Oh, wow. But, I don't know. It's okay to not know. Like,
yeah.
You're not in control, and your illusions of control don't make you in control either.
I think that's the big thing, is that we recognize that that it is an illusion. Control is an illusion, because you can't.
No. Yeah. Like, what is it that I've been saying recently? Which is like, the future's not real until it happens.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's not.
Right.
As far
Which
as
is why
know, anyway.
you prep accordingly.
Yes.
You do what I do. It's like, I'm going to
look at all of the options.
Yep.
It's not just like, oh, that's the worst case scenario one.
Right.
That's the one I'm going to think about. And then this is the best
or the best case scenario.
One,
right.
And then those are the only two
things.
It's
to me, it's like that, and then every shade in between.
Yes.
And then
you're like, oh, okay.
I'm prepared.
I'm pretty comfortable with this.
Prepared in that, like, if it happens, at least I've thought about it.
It's not a shock. Yeah.
I'm not like, oh my God.
Right. Right. Well, and even when the oh my God things happen, we're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, no,
I guess
we handle
this is fine.
Pretty cavalier.
All right, sure. and then we move on to the pillars, because forward is the only way. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing that I've kind of discovered through exploring spirituality as a whole, and like spirituality as it applies to me, is that like I'm here to learn.
Right.
And in my learning, I can impact others in a positive way.
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm here to lead, and I'm not here to like be this massive big figure, but I make ripples.
Yeah. And additively, if we all make ripples, then it's all for the good, right?
Yeah.
As long as they're positive.
Right.
But I kind of feel like that's where our grandfather sits.
Yeah.
In that, in his journey, because he was going to be a priest at one point, or a deacon. Yeah. So like he was on one path, and then he started to get into Hinduism.
What does he call it? He's like God talk.
God talk, yeah.
So he's like experiencing spirituality without the God talk.
Right.
And so he's exploring that route right now.
Right. It's really interesting. But like, oh man, I keep losing my spot. Because like
Buddhism. He was exploring Buddhism.
Was it Buddhism? I know that was one of them.
Who's on your porch?
Yeah, I know Buddhism.
Hinduism probably too.
Hindu, yeah. Because I know he's into like, he was explaining like one of Shiva's sons to me the other day.
Oh really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, it was really cool actually. He had this like painting that was done. It was a print of one of the sand arts.
That's amazing.
You know, the ones that they wipe off, and that was the whole point of it, is that it goes away.
Yeah.
It's like, but you didn't get rid of that one. That's a print. Anyway. Oh no, it wasn't one of the sand ones. It was one of the ones, you know how like with all their deities, they have to be done in a certain way?
Yes.
Like the pose is like
is paramount.
You fuck up that, you're ruined.
Yes.
Like the flowers that are around them. Like he was just showing that to the kids and stuff.
That's
it was really cool.
But
it's like, I just want to talk to him now.
I know. It's hard because there's so much to it. And I feel like we've not been comfortable talking about it prior.
Right.
Not even like comfortable talking about it. I'm so comfortable talking about it. I just need somebody who's comfortable hearing it.
Oh, I mean, I am.
Yeah. But like you and I are on the same page for the most part.
I know. And we've talked about this stuff before.
Yeah.
Like anytime you would find something out and you were like, ooh, I like this, you would talk to me about it. I'd be like, no, that makes sense. Like, I get that.
Yeah.
I totally agree with that.
The most recent one was that like, that we exist across time as a whole.
Yeah.
And I have this new like imagery to kind of unfold that, where it's like if you picture a plane or like a line, right? And a wheel on the other side. And as the wheel turns, it unwinds across the plane.
Yeah. I know exactly what you're talking. I do the same thing, but it's a film reel.
That's exactly it, right? Yeah. That's perfect.
That's exactly how I've envisioned that exact thing.
That's so funny. Oh my God.
Yeah. Like you're talking about, like, I know exactly what you're talking about. So you exist as this moment in time.
Yes. Well, and every moment is fixed and permanent. Like every moment we exist forever. We in that
we're just experiencing it sequentially,
so
right? Like
fascinating. Yes.
It's like unfair once you realize it, because you're like, oh, but I want to go back to that thing. I want to see that thing.
Yes.
But I have to wait, or I can't do it again.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Maybe when you're up there, you can choose to.
Right. Exactly.
But I don't know, and that all gets into that like idea of the higher self or the like greater consciousness. And how that kind of plays out into... I was watching a video the other day that was talking about like the greater consciousness or the universe, however you want to like think about it, split itself off and then dammed off the consciousness. And each one did the same and did the same and did the same.
Right.
And so we're all these like tiny fractions of a whole that are cut off from the source until we die, essentially. Right. But I don't even remember where I was going with that. But having that like greater consciousness, but every moment is happening all at once forever. Continually.
Yeah.
So time itself exists like at the same time. It's just fascinating. It's weird and fascinating. And I like... That resonates with me really hard.
Something I've been trying to figure out is where the sense of, well, not figure out, but this is something that I think about, like the sense of an afterlife. As a kid, I thought that was people being afraid of death.
Yeah.
Like the need to continue on.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I can't, that just, oh, I can't handle the idea that I die. But it's like every culture has an afterlife or a reincarnation or like you can attain a spiritual level to where you're free of the cycle, the dharmic cycle.
Right.
Stuff like that, right? Mm-hmm. So, and I don't think that's fear in every culture.
No.
I can see it in some, but like in others, it's like they accept death.
Yes.
And it's not scary.
Well, it's because like when you unsterilize death, it's as natural as breathing, right?
It is.
Like, it's not a moment of fear if you can come to terms with the idea that, like, it's okay not to know for sure. You don't have to know for sure what's going to happen after that moment. And guess what? If it's not the afterlife, you're not going to be around to care.
It's true.
It's okay.
I don't know. After my near-death experience, I feel like there's something.
Well, the dream with the nurse.
Oh, yeah.
I think that was something.
That was bizarre.
I think that was...
Because I don't think I was asleep. I swear.
I honestly think that it was a part of you asking if you wanted to stay or if you wanted to go.
It's what it was. It's what
you had a moment.
It came across, and I was like, "No, I'm happy.
Your higher self asking,
right?
Hey, you want to go or you want to keep going?
Like, are we good?
Yeah.
Because it really was. Is like,
yeah.
It's a bizarre.
It's like,
moment.
Are you scared?
Because Jen was asleep, I was awake.
Yeah.
And it was literally, do you want to keep going?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
would you like to continue?
Yeah.
Press 1. Yeah. No, that's what I think that is.
Mm-hmm.
And there have been a lot of times in my life where, and I don't think of it as intuition necessarily, but it absolutely is. And I think that like that intuition is the communication, right? That intuition is the part of you that is aware of being this higher thing and is accepting of that piece of you in reality.
Mm-hmm.
And you can build that connection as you go. But for me, it's been hard because I've always second guessed it.
Right.
I've never trusted my intuition, not the first go round necessarily. And even if I know something, I wait to see if it'll confirm, because I can't trust myself to know that I know something.
Right.
Or I haven't been able to in the past. And so now I'm in this place in my life where I'm much more comfortable. It sounds weird to say, oh, I'm comfortable in my own skin when my skin suit is a lemon, but you know what I mean?
Yes, I know exactly.
Like, I'm comfortable in who I am as a person.
Yeah.
And not to say that I'm like, oh, this is good, I'm done. More that,
right,
like, I'm connected to me and I'm in a place of growth.
Yeah. For sure.
With like intentionality.
Yeah.
Which is very different from the reactionality, right?
Mm-hmm. It's funny because we were just talking last week on Fantastic Pains about personalities.
Yeah.
And this is just an extension of that, because this is like, we were talking about how we would not have been able to take that test realistically years ago.
Yeah.
It would have been our answers to what we thought we were supposed to be.
Yes.
At that time.
Yeah.
Not who we are.
Right. Which is why I have never resonated with it before.
Right.
And this time around, I was like, oh, God, that's me. Oh no.
Mm-hmm.
And then someone called me a lighthouse the other day.
Oh, you're a beacon. That's a good thing.
Yeah. That was weird. But it's also this thing that was introduced to me at my last job.
Yeah.
As the idea that we are the lighthouse for a lot of these kids and what they have experienced in their lives. And I was always like, ew, gross, nuh-uh.
Well, and doesn't that tie in beautifully with like the fact that the journey got you to where you are for a reason? Like, things happened so that you could help other people.
Right.
Like, all the bad that's happened is at least being used for good now.
Well, and the visibility piece is just, it's like metaphors on metaphors on metaphors, because right now my whole thing is the visibility of how do we help people? We help people by showing them that they're not alone.
Yeah.
How do I help my kids? By giving them my life so that they know they're not alone.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I hate it.
No, you don't.
But I feel weird about it.
Yeah. It's weird because you
I don't want to like it.
Right, but you do.
I don't. Yeah.
It feels. Does it feel
I don't
pretentious?
Like it. Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
I get that 100%. Which is why when you called me the protagonist, I was like, nope, no,
right. I'm like, I'm not the main character. Shut up.
I am not. I do not have protag energy. I am not the main character. But
what are we? We're the helpers. We're the ones who are helping to raise the vibration by bringing people into their own genuine selves.
Mm-hmm. And letting that be okay.
Yeah.
That's always been, think about all the times we've had people on and they're always like, it was just like a safe space and we had a conversation.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's been in our face forever, but it's been hard to accept because there's still that piece of me that's like, I'm not special. I'm a girl in a chair who talks shit sometimes.
Mad shit, dude.
Mad shit, you know.
Oh, boy.
Mostly about myself, but you know.
Well, no, but in the past, yes.
Yeah.
God, the beginning of the podcast, that's all we did was talk mad shit about ourselves.
Oh, my God. The humor.
It's still there.
Yeah. Well, the humor's still there, but it's not biting anymore.
No,
it's not like self-directed mean time.
Which is funny, too, because in a way, wasn't that just us, like, targeting the insecurities and bringing them, like, forward so that we could analyze them later?
Yeah.
By, like, keeping it in our head. It was like keeping ourselves humble.
Yes.
To where we could address it.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Like, haha, you're stupid and fat and no one loves you. Like, I guess you're right. I'm okay with that.
I'm okay with that. That's exactly it. Like, life is a continual journey. Like, every destination is not a destination. It's a checkpoint along the way.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of how I think about it. And I was explaining this to my husband where I'm like, I view life as like there's these big moments, right? But everything in between is still unwritten.
Mm-hmm.
We might be going to the same destination overall.
But how you get there.
But how we get there is different. And what happens along the way is different. And we get to like have a role in that.
Mm-hmm.
If we are proactive and take our life in our own hands.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just an interesting thing. I don't know. It feels weird to talk about. So
well, okay.
Candidly.
It feels weird because
it's new.
Yeah, not just that, but I feel like there's a little bit of that religious trauma in general.
Oh, yeah.
Like,
well, there's that fear of like, did I hand one in for the other?
Right.
Am I being skeptical enough?
Yes, you are.
Because I'm a skeptical human being, just overall.
Yeah. No, you're not like diving. It'd be too much if you were like buying crystals and decking your house out and being like, everybody's wrong.
Yeah.
There's only one thing. And it's to feng shui my house upside down.
I'm going to smudge every building I have ever been inside of.
I'm going to own every quartz crystal and say each one does a different thing. It's all the same crystalline structure, I'm telling you. Some have minerals in them, some don't. But you know what I mean? Like, no, you're approaching it and it's vibrating with you.
Yes.
You're like, I get that.
Yes.
I will explore it. That's what you do.
Right.
You explore things. So like,
yes. Well, and I was explaining that to my new friend, which was like, I'm not uncomfortable with being uncomfortable.
Right.
I'm very comfortable with being uncomfortable in a like, if it hurts, I'm going to keep poking it until I understand it kind of way.
I was talking to Jen about that because we have a friend who's very much against
being uncomfortable. Yes.
And it was like,
I feel uncomfortable in some way and I must run 180 degrees that way.
The difference for us though is that like, we run to it. We're like,
yes,
I need to understand that.
This hurts.
Why? Why does it hurt? Let me repeatedly traumatize myself. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm going to relive that moment over and over again until I understand
it. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not, and this was what was interesting, like trying to explain it to my therapist and then have her get on the same page. Because at first she thought that like need to understand it was a control thing.
No.
And it's not, because I'm fully aware that like I can't control it.
Right.
But if I can understand it, I have a new basis to move forward from. I have more context.
I don't understand why that would be a control. I mean, I kind of do.
Because people don't think the way we do, and
right.
when they do think the way we do, they are having a hard time articulating it.
Right. And we don't.
No.
We do not.
We have lots of practice.
We'll say all the things.
Yes.
But it's true, yeah. That it's not like if I don't know, once you understand it, it takes the like concern out of it.
Right. Like my face.
Right.
It can be. Oh yeah, I had like an 8-9 yesterday. That was bad. Hated that.
I had 8-9 on my knee. My knee of all things.
Yeah.
It was dumb.
That's crazy.
Right.
That is intense.
Like a knee? I didn't think.
How do you even like deal? Like you can't walk away from it. You can't like hold it. Like what do you even do? You just like hold above it and like scream at it.
I never imagined that a knee could hurt that way. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Oh, I get it.
Like, cause like I know all the feelings and pains in all the joints, right?
Right.
And I've had like bad, but it's never been like a joint. The bad pain was the back, was the surgery, was the like the arachnoiditis, the things that are impinging nerves and doing horrible things.
Yeah.
I'd never thought my knee could hurt in that way to where I'd black out. Like that was new and a shock.
Yeah.
It was like, what the?
You need to make it to the floor.
I did.
Okay, good. Wait. Did you make it to the floor safely?
I think I skidded. I was walking quickly trying to get to the bathroom, and then it was right at the where the pantry is. I started to turn to go that way, and then and I'm pretty sure I went like, you know, I was drifting.
On your face?
On my side.
Oh, okay.
It was like, imagine I had socks on, so I was like,
oh, you just slid out from under yourself.
And landed on my hip.
Okay. Oh.
And that's when it was out.
Right one? Left one?
The right one was out, but I landed on the left.
You dislocated my hip, is what you're saying.
Hey, now.
Or did I dislocate your hip? I didn't make you fall, though. That wasn't me.
Yeah, it was. I've been falling forever. You were the one who fell last.
Oh, that's true. I keep trying to faint.
It was a blackout. It was stupid.
Well, I keep trying to black out, too, so it's fine.
We don't believe in consciousness.
Yay!
Let's talk about spirituality and global
consciousness. You know. It's also that, like, okay, I have a super crazy, unbelievably well-developed dream world.
Oh, yeah,
and that makes me feel weird, too. Like, I think I'm crazy, like, half the time.
Yeah, but I have that, too. Persistent dream world.
Yes. Why? What is that? Like, it takes place in the same place, but you've compiled all of the place into one cohesive map.
Right.
And the map is consistent.
The buildings are never consistent.
No, the buildings aren't.
The insides are what change for me mainly, but like...
Yeah, sometimes Kaiser is a mall. Or there's a Kaiser in a mall.
That's funny. Jen had a dream about us fighting demons in a mall the other day.
Oh, weird.
She was telling me about it last night. Huh. Or something.
Interesting. Well, but it's not like a mall. It's like at the boardwalk.
Right.
In Grand Lake.
Right.
But like stacked, so there's like floors of it.
Right.
Yeah.
I got you.
It's weird. But then there's the schools and like a giant massive hill that comes down into
my favorite thing is that anytime I'm in a dream and there's a building, I always put a secret room. There's always a secret room. What?
Really?
Yeah.
That was like an ongoing thing as I was growing up. And I would have these dreams that my mother interpreted one where it was like I was with my sister and we were in like Papa's old house. You remember the one that had so many floors?
Yeah. The
Garfield.
Yeah.
But they would kind of go on forever. And at one point, like there was always a secret way to get to the next floor.
Yeah.
But at some point she got scared and wouldn't go with me anymore. And I was just going up through these secret doors and passageways.
Like Meow Wolf.
Yeah, kind of. It was very bizarre, but I would leave her behind. And like every time it would become like an attic where I would leave her. But the attic was filled with toys.
Right. It was like a safe space.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then it was like when I brought it to my mom, because I was having this dream over and over again. I had a lot of reoccurring dreams as a kid. I still do. But she was like, well, you're growing up and she's still here. And so you are leaving her behind in a way. And I was like, oh, shit. Oh. Yeah. And then I stopped having that dream. I still dream about that house, though.
Oh, yeah.
But the house is different. It's very, like, I don't know. It's kind of the same layouts, but it's combined with all of the other Like at the big houses in the house.
Yeah. I got you.
I don't know.
My favorite one was we were at the big house in Grand Lake, and there was like a whole underneath bit, like a secret.
That's cool. Like if the sauna went under the house.
Yes.
It
was neat.
That's cool.
It was like a hallway, and then there was this epic room, and I was like, I'm gonna
put
my game room in here.
Hiding places.
Yeah.
As a kid, like that was what I would dream into the houses. Was that there was always a hiding place. So like a secret passage.
Did you ever get to explore the big house? Ever? Because there were hiding nooks and stuff. There were like,
I remember like
there's a closet that goes in the upstairs 2-bed bedroom.
I think I might
there was a closet that goes back.
It might just be stored. Oh my God, I do remember. You showed me that. That's when you were showing me how to like get in and out through the windows too.
Mm-hmm.
I lost that. So that was just integrated into the dream world and I wasn't aware of it.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Huh.
There were all sorts of every time
I also remember the old deck.
Yeah. Which is weird.
The old deck. Yeah.
You would have been tiny.
Yeah.
But yeah.
But I remember the old deck.
I remember there used to be this.
The old deck is what kind of is built in.
There was this green bench.
Like, yes.
And it would swing.
Yeah.
And it would hit the house.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
And we would get yelled at.
For swinging it too much.
They would tell us not to swing too much.
Yeah.
I remember sitting on somebody's lap a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Just swinging because I was little. I think I was probably like 3.
Yeah.
4 years old maybe. No, I was probably older than that. I was like 5, 6 maybe. I don't know. Age is hard. Time is hard. I can't remember time.
No, you would have been little.
So maybe I was like 3, 4. Okay.
Because then I would have been like 10.
I think Dad. I think I got handed off to Dad a lot.
Yeah.
Because I was a terror.
Yeah.
And it wasn't because I was a terror. It was just because I would get really, really, really upset.
Mm-hmm.
And then yelling at me didn't work.
Yeah.
Wow. Amazing.
There was also a tree on the old stairs that would go down.
Yes.
That had it was like a D tree.
Like wrap around. Yeah.
And the path would go around it.
Mm-hmm.
I missed that tree when they had to take it down.
I remember just flying down the path.
Oh yeah, just running full speed.
Booking full speed toward
downhill
the water. Yep.
To where
knowing where every single rock was that you were gonna hit. And
there was the big rock.
Fly right off it.
And then you would jump off the ones in the water.
Yep.
The 2 that were there, and then onto the deck.
Onto the dock. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Oh boy.
Now I'm sad because we're thinking about Grand Lake, and that was home, and that still feels like home. Yeah.
It's persistent in my brain.
It's going to be home forever, I think.
Yeah.
Because that was what felt like home.
There's a game called Earthbound where you go around collecting parts of a melody and resonating with places. So you'd have to find your sacred places.
Oh, that's cool.
And as a kid, to me, Grand Lake was always
the sacred place.
Was one of them, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There were different ones all over, but it was like that one was the main one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. No, that makes sense. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. It's been a long one, I think.
Yeah, we could probably call it.
We could probably call it. There's so much more to say, but
join us in the
there's not
Discord.
A lot of time. So if you want us to continue this conversation, give us a shout. And if you have stuff to add to it, please also add to it. You can find us in the Discord. You can leave us a comment. Please like it if you like it. It helps a lot.
It does.
We don't like to shill, but there you go.
And then, like I said, join the Discord so you can join us in the lives and we can actually just have a conversation about it. Because we can make the lives go longer.
Yeah.
Than we can with the episodes. So
right.
We can dive into it for real.
For sure. Yeah. All right. Well then, we love you. It's been a good time. This was a really fun conversation.
It was.
I really like this because there's just so much to say, and it was very prominent in my world in this last couple of weeks. So, well, I hope you enjoyed it. If you didn't, I don't know why you're watching this long, but thank you.
Thank you.
Hi.
Yeah.
Mwah.
You're in it for the long haul.
Yeah. You're dedicated. We appreciate it. So take your meds if you take your meds.
Yeah, please take your meds. You got to hydrate or dehydrate.
Yes. You need to have a snack because you are a snack.
Facts.
Yeah.
And then go out and touch grass.
Yeah.
Kiss yourself in the rain. It's the only way you'll know what it's like.
Never gonna not be funny to me.
I love that one. I don't know.
Go kiss yourself in the rain.
there's a story behind that. I'll explain later. But yeah, that's all we got.
That's what we got. We love you. Take care of yourselves. Be kind to you. Be kind to others. And we will see you in the next one.
Bye.
Bye.